So you had the Central Intelligence Agency and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and the George Bushes. And let's see, you had Joanna Herring King and Congressman Charlie Wilson. And then, of course, you had Bill Casey, Admiral Poindexter, Robert Owen. You had Bud McFarlane, Terry Reid, Barry Seal. And you had the whole Oliver North, Richard Secord gang operating in Houston, Texas, with RLG, Westgate Investments, Purple Capital, Carlyle Group, KPMG, Bearing Point, the Khashoggis and the Gabanafars, and the little mafia from Triad Development Corporation, just to name a few. Right there in Harris County. All at the same time, operating out of the Galleria Hotel. I think it was the Westin Galleria. Right next door to the Western Banks, owned by Westgate Investments, that KPMG, Bearing Point, Carlyle Group, Triad, Purple Capital, RLG Holdings. They went on to buy Carlyle Group and Atos Origin. Operating right there next door to each other from the Western Banks, who owned all the above financial interests: Western Banks, the Galleria, the Houstonian Estates, and Interfin Plaza, owned by the Borlanes of International Finance Corporation. All operating there in Houston, Texas, right next door to the Western Banks. Isn't that fascinating? Nelda Luce Radabow Blair, Jim Blair's wife, operating out of 1300 Main Street in Houston, Texas. Isn't this a fascinating story, Judge Lynn Hughes? What was her name there? Lee Rosenthal, Judge Rosenthal, out of the law firm of Baker and Botts. Let's see, Judge Barb Sadler, Alan Barb Sadler. And the list just goes on from Jimmy Dozier over at DEA, Jimmy Dozier over at DEA, to Tim Herron of the law firm of Hope and Mays in Houston, Texas. And let's see, Rick Williams, United States Secret Service, the head of security for ConocoPhillips Oil at the Woodlands. And this list from Judge Russell T. Lloyd to Judge Grant Dorfman, and on and on and on and on and on, lead right back to Bubba's Barbecue in the old Rice Hotel, right straight across the street from the Houston Chronicle, where Peter Bruton of the Mafia, the CIA, and George Bush, the Houston Post's Peter Bruton. Now this gets pretty fascinating, doesn't it, Linda Minor and Catherine Austin Fitz? Isn't it an amazing address? The Galleria, just down the street from the Houstonian Estates presidential suite of George H., Big H. Bush, and George W. And where the Clintons used to come and, interact with the Bushes on Iran-Contra and Charlie Wilson's war.